Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Star Pulse episode 3. And today we're going to talk about the South Node in Virgo, where
Yes.
it has been since the beginning of this year, I believe.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk about something that's going to happen on around the 21st, 22nd, depending on where you are. And that means Mars, the planet of action and warrior, is going to meet the South Node.
Yes. Yes. I have the dates depending on where you are. Like you said, I have July 22nd, 2025. This is at it says 1801, so we're looking at minus 12. What is that? That's 2:01 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, is the
Yeah.
exact conjunction of Mars on the South Node. Fact correct me, anyone, by the way, who knows military time. You can post it in the comments. But yes, so the conjunction, depending on where you are, on the East
Yeah.
Coast in New York, it'll be on the 22nd in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And this is a really important cycle for us. This is a super important transit. And so I'm excited to unpack this and share. I think anytime a planet is conjunct the North or the South Node, it's one of those placements that you want to pay close attention to, especially if you have a personal planet in your chart that
Mhm.
is around these degree markers. So,
But also
um,
check where Virgo is in your chart, your natal chart. What
yeah,
area of your life is this going to be, it's going to be activated?
totally.
So let's unpack a little bit about the South Node in Virgo before we go any further.
Yeah,
And this nodal axis, the axis of growth, you can also call it, is where we often see that where the South Node is in our natal chart is where we are very familiar with certain patterns and dynamics and traits and personality characteristics, and where the North Node is placed in your natal chart, that's where you need to do some growth. And it's stuff that you are less familiar with, and it's where you often will encounter experiences in life where you get stretched and challenged to develop these areas. So at the moment, the nodal axis is, as we said, in Virgo, and activating that whole energetic pulse about being detail oriented, getting grounded, sometimes getting lost a little bit too much in details, lacking sometimes to see the bigger picture. This South Node in Virgo is also a lot about self-criticism and not getting out of your head and not getting out of this is not good enough. Would you say that's some of
yeah,
the dynamic that can come up?
definitely. I feel the South Node in Virgo is such an interesting placement for me. I always look at the South Node as, from an evolutionary perspective, as how the soul has come to understand itself.
Mhm.
Um, and what happens is that we are not always conscious of that South Node and how it operates. It's very sneaky. And so there is this comfort zone within the South Node because there's a security pattern associated with it. And so what happens is the security patterns can be so unconscious that we don't recognize that we're operating out of our South Nodes.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
almost automatic. Like this is
yeah,
how we
well,
operate. This is how we do
well,
it.
and what I say is that we always have to keep in mind that the South Node is of the moon. Every single planet except the sun is going to have a north and a south node.
Mhm.
And the moon's nodes are what we're referencing. And so the south node is a reflection of the moon. And so what happens here is that we have to appreciate what the moon brings to the table. And the moon has a lot to do with our emotional patterns. It has a
Mhm.
lot to do with how we understand ourselves. So from the South Node perspective, it's our most recent past life emotional patterns and how we saw and understood ourselves at an ego level.
Mhm.
And so when you have the South Node in Virgo, this is going to be an individual that already has embedded within them these perfectionist tendencies,
Mhm.
their desires to be very detailed oriented and meticulous with everything that they
Mhm.
do. They want to have order and
Yeah.
structure instead of chaos.
Mhm.
And so having that could create the self-criticism, could create
Yeah.
the internal self-judgment.
Yeah,
And
but also
what's
towards others, there is also this
could
tendency to be critical with others because they pose such a high demand and expectations on themselves,
could be,
on
yeah,
ourselves, that we put in the extra effort in order
yeah,
to live up to our own expectations or society.
totally.
And we get impatient with other people and it can be unpleasant for people
100%.
around people very self-critical because it spills over to
It
other
could,
people as
yeah.
well.
And especially if you don't know how to handle feedback or criticism. I always
Yeah,
say this when I meet people that have the South Node in Virgo. I
yeah.
want your feedback. Give it to
Hmm.
me because I can handle that feedback that you have because I know it's not coming out of hurt or ill, it's coming out of love.
Yeah.
And many times you'll see with strong Virgo energy or the South Node in Virgo, they don't want to be the people that nitpick you down to the ground. That's not where it's coming from.
Hmm.
This is a very sensitive energy, so it could totally be bringing a lot of emotions up to the surface. The other
Okay.
thing that I just want to say about the South Node in Virgo is that it's ruled by Mercury.
Yeah.
And one thing that's important to note is that this side of Mercury is about how we are dissecting and processing the information.
Hmm.
Whereas Mercury in Gemini is the gathering of the information, Virgo wants to dissect it all.
Yeah.
So the South Node in Virgo, we're going to notice that the way in which we process and we gather, or the way in which we are dissecting things, has to change.
Hmm.
And so the pursuit towards perfection is going to kind of be shattered a little bit. There's going to be a shift in how we are processing everything and how we're internalizing everything.
Hmm.
And that's going to affect the way that we take action and the way that we do things. And so we always say lean into what the North Node in Pisces is asking of us.
I was
And
just about to
so,
say exactly. The
and
bigger,
there's,
zoom out, right? To zoom
yeah,
out a little bit, see the bigger picture. I mean, if you're unbalanced on your south node, the Virgo, how to balance it is to look towards the Pisces.
yeah,
Look towards, like zooming out, seeing the bigger picture, forgive yourself and surrender.
yeah.
Surrender is a big word
That's what
with the
I was going to
Pisces.
say. And be
Yeah.
compassionate with yourself. Be
Yeah.
more graceful because I'm surrounded by people that have this placement, the South Node in Virgo, and I sometimes think they're so lost in the details about whether it's what action do I take or they're so focused on the bigger picture that they don't know
Mhm.
what steps to take.
Mhm.
And I always look at this and say, this is where we need to kind of lean into the Pisces realm,
Yeah.
which requires for us to have more grace and find that flow of things and let go of the need to control everything or the need to know how everything's going to be. And it's very difficult for the South Node in Pisces, the South
It
Node in
is.
Virgo, because
But if you think about,
they need to
yes.
have that sort of understanding of things because, again, we have to appreciate where they're coming from. And they might have had to operate in that very organized, controlling function
Mhm.
because of where they're coming from. So the transit south node can bring all of this to the surface for us of
Yeah,
where and how we are carrying these traits within us. And I
for sure.
think where the South Node in Virgo is in your chart is the opportunity for us to have this release, to have this letting go
Mhm.
of these tendencies, of where do we need to improve upon? Where do we need to ask ourselves, how can I be better and do better? Not out of a desire to be perfect, but just to be a little bit better for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because what happens within Virgo is if we get stuck in the perfection loop, we're just
Yeah.
going to continue to create a crisis after a crisis until we learn to let go of that.
Mhm.
And we learn to accept that nothing is going to be perfect. It's not going to happen. I can just put one foot in front of the other and do the best that I can today.
Absolutely. But if you think about, we talk sometimes about other people being critical, but we do it ourselves. Think
Yeah.
about it. If you had, you know, you had a review on something and you got a lot of positive reviews, and then there's one thing that you're told that you didn't do well enough. I
Yeah.
bet all of us are going to go in a loop in our head thinking
Yeah.
about the one thing that we were criticized about. You're going to forget all about the positive.
Yeah.
This is exactly Virgo in action. And
Totally.
when you just get stuck in, but hey, wait a minute, what about all the other things that were good,
Yeah.
And don't also, we shouldn't forget that Virgo is also the sign of developing skills, right?
Yeah.
It's like about mastering something. So one of the reasons behind this criticism is also this inner push to develop a skill set in whatever area that, this
Yeah.
relates to for you. And where we get stuck is when we forget that, there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger passion, there's a bigger goal, there's a bigger meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Um,
But I would, you just gave me a thought of
yeah.
an old story or parable that I once heard, which is if you're given a bowl of strawberries and they're the most beautiful red strawberries in the world, they
Mhm.
look delicious, they smell
I see
delicious,
them.
and they're green on the top and everything is perfect. When you
Yeah.
see that bowl of strawberries, you're going to be so excited and you're going to celebrate and be so grateful for those bowls of that bowl of strawberries. But if there's one cockroach in that bowl of strawberries, what's going to happen is the question is, are you going to pay attention to that one cockroach that's there? Or are you going to pay
Also,
attention to all of those strawberries that are there? And what happens is that within the South Node in Virgo, it's very easy for us to notice the cockroach and focus and spiral with the cockroach when the strawberries are all right there. And I think what happens is it's a mindset shift.
mhm.
And what happens is that within Pisces, there is this tend towards gratitude and faith and trust, all of which are very difficult things for the South Node in Virgo. You could
Yeah.
hear a South Node in Virgo or someone that has this placement. What do you mean trust? What do you mean have faith? I have to do it
Yeah.
myself. I have to be this
Mhm.
person. I have to make it
I can't
happen.
rely on anybody but myself, right? You hear
And
Virgo saying that. I want to get it
100%.
done properly. I have to do it myself. Why can't I count on anybody?
And what happens here is it's learning to step into a more faith-driven approach, a more
Yeah.
trust-driven approach. And this isn't it doesn't have to be woo-woo, but meditation is huge, a huge
Mhm.
cure to the Virgo tendencies.
Mhm.
Because in order to give up control, you have to have trust and faith in something else. You don't need to be the person to do the dishes all the time. You don't need to be the person that has to have everything organized or plan every single vacation trip. Because
Mhm.
when you do that, what happens is you will create the same crisis points over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And learning to let go of that control, I think, is super, super important. And
This is a
so,
super important point, but like what you said about holidays. So there's always in a group or in a friend circle of friends or
yeah,
family, there's somebody always more organized, and they end up doing it, and they end
right.
up feeling resentful. Why is it always me? So
Yeah,
what they need to do, what we can think about in our own life, if there is somewhere where we do take too much control,
yeah,
let me do it. You don't know how to do this.
hmm,
Where in our life do we trying to take too much control? And what
yeah.
happens if we just let it go? Sure, we might miss the bus because somebody else didn't think about getting the schedule right. But hey,
But,
what might happen? We might take another bus. We might go to a different
and is
destination.
it really that big of a deal? Is it
Yeah,
really that big of a deal? And
exactly.
I think with Virgo, I again, I connect Virgo with crisis because there is this difficulty that Virgo energy will go through, and we could see it manifest. And so, where Virgo is in our chart, I ask, where is there room for the improvement? How can I
Mhm.
be more efficient in this area of my chart? How can I do this energy better?
Yeah.
And so, when you throw Mars into the equation,
Mars.
um,
Yes, let's talk about when Mars is coming in now.
yeah, Mars is an interesting energy. So Mars entered Gemini on June 17th, 2025.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting energy to happen because Mars naturally at an archetypal level is an action-oriented planet. It wants to take action, and I connect Mars to the conscious actions and the desires and the unfolding of that
Mhm.
um, connected to the soul. And so what happens here is that Mars in Virgo is going to come in here, and Mars, which is normally action oriented, is coming into a sign that's very detailed oriented. So the
Yeah.
action comes out of the details. And
Right.
so you'll find with people that have Mars in Virgo that they can't act instinctively like Mars wants without having its to do list.
Mhm.
But the problem that we're going to experience with Mars in Virgo is if you have so many steps and so many to-do lists and so many different things, the Virgo energy is going to get shut down. So it's not the proper use of this energy.
Mm.
And so there's something about Mars and Virgo that is the literal baby steps. It's literally the baby step of being able to just do something and allow the Martian energy to move. Because what happens with Mars and Virgo, if you don't, the crisis that can unfold is the inner frustration, the
Yeah.
upsetment, the self-criticism could be stronger than ever. The
Yeah, the
anger can be
impatience
strong.
will,
Health issues can
yeah.
surface with this transit. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, no, I would just say the impatience. I think Mars coming in, Mars, whenever Mars comes in, it comes in with this action driven, like spontaneous type of energy. And Virgo is the opposite. It's an earthy
Yeah.
kind of energy. We take one step at a time. We plan ahead because we want to feel secure in all our planning. We cannot have chaos, right?
Yeah.
Mars sometimes thrives of creating a little bit of chaos because
Yeah.
it blows everything up a little bit, and there
Yeah.
will be a bit of frustration. So Mars will have to like rein in a little bit that uncontrollable passion energy to align with the Virgo like goal, whatever the goal is.
Yeah.
But it might also, in order to stir things up, there might be a little conflict as well.
Yeah.
There might be really two different energies butting heads, finding
Totally.
out what, like breaking down some structures in order to create something new. So that should be very
Yeah.
exciting. And people might think about where in your life, where in our lives are we stuck? Where are we doing the same thing over and over and we get frustrated because we cannot get out of that loop? Now we
Yeah.
might get some help from Mars. Mars might come in and blow up a little bit on our
Yeah.
faces.
But sometimes we need a breakdown in order to
We
have a
do.
breakthrough. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I would say with Mars on the South Node, it's very possible where we may
Yeah.
find irritations, irritability being generated.
Yeah.
And Mars wants the freedom to be able to act. And so there's something about this that we're being challenged in how we take action in the steps that we're taking.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions that I have here because if we are living from a stance of perfection, that everything needs to be done a specific way,
Yeah.
this could be a very difficult transit for somebody because it's not going to necessarily go the way that we want. The other thing that I just want to bring to the table on this is that I could see the conflict that's coming out of this could definitely alter one's sense of purpose and meaning. And this could be a realignment with what is meaningful and purposeful to an individual. Like, I could see people like, I just want to do something meaningful. I want to do something purposeful. I feel like I'm not doing that. This could be a total shift for someone because, everyone always associates the South Node with something negative, and it doesn't have to be. Sometimes when a planet is conjunct the South Node can actually be an invigoration or an awakening of a latent talent or a gift inside of someone. Yeah. And so this could be a very exciting moment for some people. It can also be very, very difficult. Can
I add something?
Yeah.
Because you really inspired me, because I was thinking about when you were talking now. So Virgo, if you think about it, Virgo is often seen as this service, like give service, be helpful, but be practical helpful. That it could be a love language of somebody with a strong Virgo, like, I do this for you. I warmed your slippers in front of the fireplace and here's a cup of tea. That is my big love language, right? So Virgo is a lot about being of service and being of help, almost like selfless,
Yeah.
That's why when you have somebody organizing everything in the office or at home or in a friends group, it's really to give and to be of service to others. If you think about Mars energy, it's the opposite. Mars wants to serve moi, myself, and I, And so there's a bit of conflict there if Mars coming in, but what about me? And I'm done doing this for everybody. This is a time to focus on what I want to do. So there's a little bit of contrast, but it's a healthy dynamic.
I could totally see that happening for some people too. A reevaluation of our priorities of what is important, and how we're doing things. Yeah. The other thing that just made me think is this could be, going back to that idea of an awakening, could be an awakening of one's desire to be of service.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Because Mars in Virgo can be an incredible healer, can be an amazing healer, and be someone that can totally make healing and making service their purpose and meaning in their life. And so this could be a huge healing placement. Or someone that has that, or awakening into what that looks like for us. The reason why I want to bring conflict back to the table is because, keep in mind, we're dealing with Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So you're getting this relationship between Mars and Mercury here. And prior to this transit, Mercury had just went retrograde. And Mercury went retrograde on the 17th of July. And what we might
Right.
notice is that this could be internal dilemmas that are unfolding for us. This could be
Hmm.
an internal moment where we either having our own internal argument, our own internal frustrations of something. You
Yeah.
know, with this relationship, it could be I don't feel like I'm living my authentic truth. I don't feel like I'm like this is not what I want for myself. This could be a moment where I want to be heard. I want to express myself. Why isn't anyone listening to me?
Yeah.
And that could create the internal frustration of Mars.
Hmm.
Having Mars and Virgo on the South Node and Mercury and Leo could lead to significant disagreements and conflict.
Yeah.
And this might not only be at an individual level, this could be, I could totally see, you know, when we look at the state of countries in the world right now, this could be an explosion of
Mhm.
arguments and conflict. And you know, Mars is also the planet of war.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so we could totally see, you know, you don't assume, and we're not predicting in this context, but are there going to be warlike expressions around this transit? That's totally possible.
It's
Um,
already happening a bit, but if I try and think about in people's own lives, um, this could also be a time where you think, am I acting out of, you know, unconsciously out of old
yeah.
wounds? For example, the Virgo want to be accepted, want to
Yeah.
be liked, right? And the one way to be liked is to be selfless and
Hmm.
to do for everybody else.
Self-sacrifice.
Yes. And Mars coming in here and reminding you, you have your voice too, you have your rights as well, you have your
Yeah,
needs as well. And
totally.
you know, when somebody want to change the status quo and you start with yourself, and Virgo will often want other people to change.
Yeah,
That's why sometimes they criticize. But you have to start with yourself. And this is why I think this Mars energy can be really helpful in getting the courage to do
totally.
something differently, right?
And what I would say is keep in mind that Mars is on the South Node, which means it's opposing the North Node,
Yes.
which is in Pisces. So whenever you see that type of signature, there's not only is the South Node being activated, the North Node is being activated at the same token.
Yeah.
And so there's something about the need for us to lean into compassion and unconditional love.
For
There's
ourselves as
something
well.
about needing to lean into faith,
Yeah.
something about asking ourselves how we have gotten to this point, what needs to be let go, what needs to be dissolved. So there can be this releasing point here.
Mhm.
And if something is showing up that is asking to be removed, or it could be a relationship, it could be a career, it could be whatever, family dynamics.
Yes.
Allow the Piscean waters to wash this away because this
Mhm.
could actually take away from you
Mhm.
a very problematic energy
Yeah.
that you don't even recognize yet the gift that's going to come out of you allowing this to go.
Mhm.
Um, and so I just think try your best to lean in to faith and trust. Try to lean in to the universe, to God, to source, whatever you believe in, because it's where the medicine is, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. And I keep thinking when you're talking, I'm thinking, you know, there's also the whole more psychological approach where you say, as you become aware of things, it doesn't make them go away. But if you become aware of what are you getting out of a certain pattern, right?
Yeah,
We might have certain patterns. We do it
yeah,
automatically because it served us in the past, but we might feel it's out, you know, we
send.
have outlived it, you know, we
Yeah,
don't need that, and become conscious. What do you get out of it? You
yeah,
know, you get something out of being the martyr, the one that, oh, it's always me that have to do that. You know, is that making you not look at other things about yourself that's
yeah,
painful, that maybe if you stop doing it, there is not a lot of love, or all the love you have in your life is conditional? I
yeah,
mean, becoming conscious of what we get out of something, even we think, I got nothing out of it because I'm just overworked, I have to do everything. But what
totally.
do you get out of it? You know,
And
try and figure that out within yourself and
yeah,
see, whoa, look then towards Pisces and see, what can I take some of these principles
100%.
and forgive myself?
Yeah. Well, there's that quote that I don't remember who said this, but something along the lines of within and I love this axis with Virgo because Virgo can very much, and people are going to be upset with this, but Virgo Pisces has the ability to create or believe itself to be a victim
Hmm.
and or victimization. And what
Yes.
happens here is you could hear within Virgo, like, why won't anyone love me for who I am? Why won't anyone do this for me? Why am I the person that does
Yeah.
this? And the real solution of Pisces is, well, when you start to learn to love yourself, when you really start to learn to unconditionally love yourself for all of your beauty and all of your imperfections and really loving all of you, is when people are going to start treating you the same way. And there's something about that, and I love what you brought up about this dynamic of you. I was feeling into this idea about Mars is the process of becoming as well. There's something about, you know, there's this evolution that unfolds within Mars of we're continually growing and becoming in every moment in every choice that we make.
Yeah.
And what happens is that in Virgo, are we perpetuating the pattern? Are we
Hmm.
keeping this pattern going, making the same choices over and over and over again? Like, for an
Yeah.
example, in relationships, if you're dating the same type of person over and over and over again, when do we look and say,
Hmm.
I don't like the style of people that I've been dating. I don't like this. Mars can come in here and be
Hmm.
like, we're stopping this today.
Yeah, you
Because
can have a big blowout argument, but that is maybe what it needs to do to clear the air,
it could clear the karma. It could be
clear the
what
karma. Yeah.
helps. Because here's the deal, karma is simply, karma in Sanskrit translates to action in English.
Yeah.
So, and Mars is the planet of action.
Hmm.
So I encourage you to ask yourself on this transit, how am I creating my future karma? What actions am I taking right now? And if I know that the action you're taking today is going to create my karma tomorrow,
Yeah.
or a week from now, or a year from now, do I like the choices I'm making? There's something in yogic practices called karma yoga. Look it up. Karma yoga is about being aware of the choices
Hmm.
that you make because you understand that the choices that you do and the actions that you're taking are creating your future karma. And when you become very conscious of that,
Hmm.
you begin to focus on creating good for yourself by doing and making choices that are more in alignment with the soul.
Yeah,
And
and
there's
those
something about this that could totally be a lesson for some people.
for sure. And I think we can all look at that with more consciousness and see, am I acting out of old wounds and old
Ooh,
habits, or am I making a
Mars on the
conscious
South Node.
choice? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And those conscious choices that gonna give a different kind of relationship, different kind of dynamic in the family, with friends, at work,
yeah,
But we need to start going inward. And that's
yeah.
why what you said about meditation is not a bad idea.
Not at all. I just had another thought. One last thought I want to add before we
Yeah,
finish up because I know we're getting close on time.
yeah.
This is a little bit of a complex thought to add to the table, but I just want to introduce this for those that are listening that maybe are at an advanced level of learning. Is Mars is the ruler of Aries.
Mhm.
And right now in Aries, we have Neptune and Saturn. They're both at the very
Yes,
beginning degrees of Aries. Now, here's
good
the thing to pay
connection.
attention to
Yeah.
is Neptune is the ruler of the North Node.
Mhm.
So that means that the ruler of the North Node is ruled by Mars, which is on the South Node.
Yeah.
This is what we would often talk about, how past, present, future are all coming together to give people an opportunity to make new choices and decisions.
Hmm.
Anytime the North and the South Node are activated in a transit in your chart, are
Yeah.
what we would call fated choices and decisions. It is a moment in which the soul has an opportunity to do something different. Are we
Yeah.
going to follow the old modes of operation, or are we going to embrace a new way of doing something? And you may notice that because we have so much Aries energy being activated in all of
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
something about our instinctual nature and the way that we're making choice and decisions, something is shifting, something is changing. And this could be where the crisis point is what do I do?
Yeah, and I
And
love that you brought this up in Neptune and Saturn. That's such a significant conjunction we have right
huge.
now in Aries. It's huge. And what I love about it is because Neptune is the ruling Pisces, and here we have, you know, our big ideas, our higher purpose, all these lovely things about where we want to go, our big dreams. And then
Yeah.
you have Saturn to consolidate and make it real. So I love that
Yeah.
circuit of inspiration we're getting right now.
Because they're all having a conversation together,
Yeah.
and Mars is calling the shots. And
Yeah.
so there's something about Mars that's Mars is asking for some attention. And the Neptune and Saturn in Aries are looking at that Mars for direction. And ironically, Saturn, Neptune, and Mercury are all retrograde, and all of those planets are affected by this Mars in Virgo. And
Yeah.
so there's something going on internally. There's something going on. And oftentimes the retrograde cycles give us an opportunity to break away from the consensus way of doing things, from the status quo, which you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for us, I think, to integrate more of that North Node. And so I think there's an opportunity for change. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. I mean, I just think there's going to be an invitation for those that are brave enough, for those that are courageous enough.
I think we
Um,
can all, I hope everybody will go back now and have a little reflection on where where we are doing
yes.
the habits and what we used to do and where we can do things a little bit different.
Amen. Preach.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
Um,
thank you for this. We have a lot more in future episodes. We
yes.
have a lot of ideas actually, but I hope this was useful for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And thank you
And
so
if y'all
much.
have a transit too, drop them in the comment if there's a
Yes.
transit or a placement that you want us to talk about. Please share them in the comments wherever
Yeah.
you're listening to this. So thank you again, Charlotte. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you, Ricky. See
Thank
you.
you. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.